Up William Street towards the school, there's an empty lot in there, back in there, that the next house, very next house, is a little white house, and that's the one that Don you lived in, and lived there for a long time. My brother owned it one time. Don had an experience there with spirits, and he came to me one time and said, find out for your brother if he ever had any encounters with spirits in that house when he lived there. I thought to myself, if my brother had any encounter with spirits in that house when he lived there, the spirits came in a bottle. But anyhow, Don was serious, and his wife Nancy was serious too. They had this presentiment. The house had belonged to the Crowell family years previous, and Mary Crowell was a young lady who lived there, and I guess Minnie was her brother. He lived there too. And it could have been either one of them that Don and Nancy saw. I don't know, but I rather expect it was Mary. Well, this appearance they had, the apparition, or you want to call it, drifted in a cloud of light-colored steam, I guess. I don't know, like genie coming out of a bottle. And she didn't bother them, but she came around and looked the room over, bedroom over, and I guess they were in bed when they saw this thing happening. And they didn't do anything. They didn't get excited about it. They just thought it was, I don't know whether they thought it was nice or not, but they wanted to know if my brother had ever had any experience like that. He said, no, he never saw anybody there.
When you were growing up, were there haunted houses, or supposedly?
Well, some that we thought were haunted. This one down, on Causeway Road, there's a house down there on the right-hand side as you go down the hill, and you turn hard left to go up toward Main Street. That's not the house that was haunted, but it's built on the site of the house that was there that we thought was a haunted house. And the haunted house belonged to Aunt Judite. Now, I don't know who Aunt Judite was, but I think she had something to do with the Cromwell family. And it was haunted. I suppose it was anyhow. It had fireplaces in the house, and windows were all broken out, and the doors creaked in the wind, Yeah, I'll tell you. So we used to get down there and think we heard spooks or something and run like hell home.
Did you ever go in?
Oh, yeah, sure. One time, a friend of mine, this was when I was in high school, had a crush on a girl that lived up Skiff Avenue way here. She's not around here now. I don't know if she's living or not. And he lived in West Tisbury, and he used to run downtown all the way to take her to the movies. So this night he was going to take her to the movies, and he was going to walk her home from the movie up by Aunt Judite's up the hill. So there was a big piece of sheet iron there. I don't know where it came from, and the floor had given away in part of the house, and he wanted to get her to come in the house, and he had a rope tied around this piece of sheet iron, and I was to stay there in the house and wait till he came along and pull the rope. And down would come this thing and crash, and she would be frightened and jump into his arms. This was the plot. Well, it didn't work out. I stayed there and pulled the rope, though. But she wouldn't go in, she wouldn't go in the house with him at all. She was too scared to go in there. She heard the crash, and I guess he couldn't catch her going up the hill home. She was off and running. He's still living on the island. He's still at West Tisbury. And he became quite a well-known writer.
Who is it?
Well, you probably know him. Probably know him. Nelson Bryant. I don't see any reason why I should tell you.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Nelson was a great friend of mine. He was a bright lad, and he had planned all his life to write just like Ernest Hemingway, and that's what he did.
How did your family come to the Vineyard?
We came first in 1917, and we came to Mrs. Gowell's boarding house in Edgartown. Mrs. Gowell had the 3 houses there on Dunham Road and down to the water. We played in the haunted house. Mrs. Gowell scolded us about that. On rainy days, we used to go over there, and that was also on Dunham Road. There's a wetlands marsh across from, it's the big house going down Dunham Road on the right. And I don't know who lived there, but the person who had lived there had lots of empty bottles of blood medicine. We went all through the house, and we moved the furniture around and fixed up rooms. And it was dark. You crawled in a cellar window, and you looked down, and there was a well there, and you looked down, and you saw the ghost creeping out. It was the most eerie thing. And we'd all be around in different rooms in the house, and then there'd be a terrible crash, and we'd all rush together to see what was happening. It was very scary.